And some of them are abnormal lab results, and some of them are stat mammograms, and some of them are the Little League soccer schedule for Joey, who's on the Mighty Orange team.
Your cousin, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama both talk in
have this in common, ironically.
They have this in common.
Yeah.
But as I recall, W was going to put like $150 million toward it.
Yeah.
Barack Obama's putting
Barack knows how to buy.
He knows how to go. But,
yeah.
But it's kind of gauzy. It's like we're going to have this future where all of our medical stuff is somehow in the infosphere.
Right.
And it's seamless and everybody can tap into it all the time. Is that you? Or
yeah,
someday, or
so
now?
This is the great irony, right, is my partner Todd is down in Washington. He's at the Center for American Progress, and there's these people, and he's like, you can't believe how amazing it is. There's like 6 of us. We're having pizza, and we're inventing what healthcare is going to be like for all of us. It's like, huh, that's great. Pause. Shit. Like, that's awful. You know, that's amazing that these 6 guys are going to.
You mean
so the problem
like an
is,
Obama team of some kind plus Todd?
Yeah, the think tank and the group and the Merkel found the Merkel. I don't know who all these people, C-chit, on-chit, dog-chit. They all have committees and they form standards. The point is that everything in healthcare today is on paper or on software, and neither one of which are networks. So client-server software sits in a box, right? And then you type stuff in and you hit save, and now it's in your electronic medical record. And if you want to know what that patient has, you can look them up and pull it up, and you're like, oh, look, what I typed in is true of that person.
It's there.
Yeah. There's a Bill Gates had a product. It's called Microsoft Word. And it does that. The problem is that, you know, the internet is a different thing, and our sector hasn't gotten there. And the concern, just like it was when Clinton was going to fix healthcare in the form of the HMO circa 1993, is that probably there's dynamism going on under the sheets that will make the freeze frame that the government wants to hold as the model not relevant pretty quickly. And certainly in healthcare IT, freezing the frame on client-server software plus paper is a very, very unfortunate place to freeze the
GE announces it's going to spend more than
$3
billion. $3 billion, including $1 billion on healthcare information technology.
Yeah.
Are you toast?
Well, so GE makes software. They make disks that you buy a thing from IBM and you run this thing and it has lights. Some of them are blue. And you turn them on and you run them in a room which has backup. And then you put the disk on the thing and then you can type stuff into the software and then you can look it up again. Yeah. That is just a fundamentally bankrupt model. When we go to the bank, you don't go to the bank. What do? You log on to the bank, right? And there is your terrestrial paper checks merged with your electronic, merged with your bills, merged with your Visa. And your bank is dealing with the crap. They're taking your paper, scanning it, reading your crappy handwriting and saying it was $32.50, not $23.50, and debiting it from your balance and adding the interest and telling you your balance. They're doing that mess for you. In a software world, the software just is a thing. It's a vacuum cleaner that doesn't freaking vacuum. It just sits there waiting for you to push it around. That model is a bankrupt model, and what we have as a problem right now that entrepreneurs have to sort of rage against. I mean, you have to be crazy, I think, to fight this. I mean, here's General Electric. Billions of dollars. They have lobbyists everywhere. They own every bloody congressman, senator, and now the government's saying, actually, we're going to run all this. Thanks very much for your help.
But you're the healthcare industry
and
technology
I'm sitting there going,
figure of the year.
Hello, yeah. No one knows who the hell we are. There's not a center in the world who knows who we are. And we're saying, but there's this thing called the internet, which we think is going to be big, that hasn't quite made it to Washington.
Obama talks about it. So did
But none of the established players have internet-based things. And so as an entrepreneur, we struggle between saying, should we just keep our head down and keep making our thing? Should we scream and rage, and try to get the world to give us contracts to do this thing? Or do we trust the market to do it, or do we do some combination?
How much of the $19 billion ends up with Athena Health?
Well, all of the 29 gross actually is to be paid to physicians. And ironically,
but they're supposed to turn to you.
That's all we do, right? So ostensibly, the
you don't
29
do
billion.
Hospitals, you do
no, right?
physicians.
Right. So literally, all of that is to be paid to doctors who agree to buy services exactly like ours. Wow, that worked out okay. Yeah. Of course, the other problem is it will also probably, when the lobbyists are done, be paid to doctors who buy legacy software, which will hold them back. Because they're like, gee, I really wish I could have my charts available online, which would be good for the world, but I just bought this shiny new General Electric locomotive EMR. And, gee, I hate to lose it now.
But those rules are being hammered out now. They don't have to go for software. They're going to be rules,
that's
right?
the game.
They have
The
to have a
duel is
meaningful use of this in IT.
Right. 500 theories enter, 1 theory leave. It's the Thunderdome of ideas on how this magical word in Washington, meaningful use, which is what the law says.
Of
doctors who demonstrate
IT.
meaningful use will get this $44,000 over 4 years. And, of course, it's got everybody excited. And, frankly, I mean, credit to Barack Obama if you believe that the most important role of the president is to command the bully pulpit. By putting this Ed McMahon, you know, keychain, it's not that much money. A doctor makes $400,000 a year, $18,000 over, you know, $44,000 over 4 years, $10,000 a year. You know, it's like Big Bird on ice when you get there.
It's a poke.
Yeah, it's a poke. And the excitement around it, and how's it going to be defined, and what is meaningful use, has got the entire industry absolutely curious. And so maybe it works. Maybe there's a Keynesian moment that I have to eat crow on.
You have 1% of the doctors in the country, I think, with Athena Health.
2% of the doctors. Thank you very much.
2% now.
Yeah.
Sorry. Doubled while we speak.
We're huge now.
What percent in total are using web-enabled service?
If 20% of doctors, this is the great irony, 20% of doctors have access today to a software-based EMR. 4% actually use one. So the other 16 literally have one for free, and it slows them down so much, and it provides so little value that they say, thanks very much, and they literally walk around the EMR to their paper pad. And that's the great kind of Dilbert moment of healthcare, is that the government's going to say, great news, free, federally sponsored plutonium sneakers for every doctor. And I was like, well, I don't really want plutonium in my sneakers because I hear that plutonium is not so good for me. Yes, but they're free. You know.
You've got 2% of the doctors then.
We've got 2.
What percent of the doctors do you need in Athena Health's world?
When do they tip?
To make my billion-dollar prediction come true?
Right. Great question. So there's this notion of disruptive technology where, you know, the established players, the General Electrics.
Healthcare billionaire.
Yeah. Say it again, Tom. But anyway, there's this idea that the established players start to fall apart at a certain point.
Yeah.
So for us, the established model is software. You sell a big license, right? And typically in our market, we're already there where when a market's about to fall apart, the big dudes are focused on the big customers. So right now, all the dominant players, General Electric and Cerner and Siemens and all these guys are all focused on the huge hospitals and the multi-hundred physician practices. And the like 1, 2, 3 doc groups are like, Marco, you know, there's nobody, right? And so those sort of lower life forms are coming to Athena. Now, over time, we're creeping up into those established players. The intellectuals say that it's 3.8% where you start to tip. So at 3.8%, Moore's Law, you know, this logarithmic.
Total industry.
3.8% of anything. 3.8% of people get AIDS, 3.8% of people get the new fashion, 3.8% of people get an iPod. At that point, when they tell their friends there's enough of them so that the multiples start to really spike.
You get 2% yourself.
So I got to double. So I need almost double before I expect to start to spike. And in the meantime, it's literally trench warfare. It's going in doctor after doctor, phone calls, begging. Hello, I'd like to tell you about the click. Have you heard about the new inner click? Have you noted that click? Athena Health click. Ah! You know.
Is that your barrier to entry against
Yes.
Mark Bayo?
No one's ever heard of us. 88% of practice managers don't know who we are.
But I mean,
that's why
just
we're here.
getting them to do it.
Yeah,
Just
getting them to know that we exist. There are no doctors who know that there is such a thing as a software-enabled service.
The future.
Yeah.
Same scenario. Does he pull
You
out
went
his
back?
No.
Oh.
The future. Does that doctor in the Athena Health future pull out his iPhone? You know, ask her name, call up
name,
her
last
background,
name. No.
Right. Tell her what he's going to charge, and like it's all
allergic to penicillin. Right.
Right. Allergic to penicillin.
That's it. You told my dream.
Good.
And that's the ad. The ad is that the woman business executive kisses the man stay-at-home dude in comfortable shoes. Bye. And she gets in her thing, and the black car comes up, and she goes off, and she's having lunch, and thunk, she goes over. There's an ambulance, and it's Holland or it's some other language, and there's so that you can have the BBC, you know, undertext. And you know, we have a single white female, and they translate it, and they pull up the bracelet, and they're saying, okay, we'll give her atropine, and then they pull up and say, wait a minute, she's on AthenaNet. Hold up, we're accessing her emergency record. Okay, don't give her atropine, she's allergic to atropine. Her name is so-and-so. she's an epileptic. Give her a piece of wood and an aspirin. She's fine. Okay. And the guy pulls the needle back, and he's like, shit, that was close.
Ladies and gentlemen, the future from Jonathan S. Bush in Athena Healthcare.